Seahawks, Russell Wilson, Jamal Adams. I mean, why can't that team win the NFC? DK will like drop a ball that they'll focus on.
Had a couple bad drops.
And then he'll hit like 2 big plays, right? It's just part of the deal, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a lot about Jimmy Garoppolo. I'd say the biggest difference between Seattle and the 49ers is Seattle's quarterback is just an all-time great. I mean, as I turned up the volume because I got 2 TVs. I'm going back and forth on all these games. I never know which game to sit on. I never know red zone, what channel, what. So I kind of just do this rotation. Every once in a while, I'll just end up on just the Atlanta-Seattle game. And they're like, Russell Wilson, not going into his 9th year, 7-time Pro Bowler. And it's not just 7-time Pro Bowler. Like the last 4 years, it's like he's been the Pro Bowler. Like of the NFC, the guy you'd want in. Like he's a better player than Drew Brees. The only guy to me who's truly quote-unquote better than him is Mahomes. He's the second-best quarterback in the league. Now, I know Lamar won the MVP last year, and maybe he's improved a lot, and we'll talk about him a little later as a passer, because I actually saw Lamar made a couple passes. I'm like, damn, nice pass, Lamar. Is that Russell 31 to 35, 320? Like he just
no. Finish the line. Don't cut off the line because it's one of the great. It'll be one of the great lines of the NFL season.
Yeah, 31 to 35, 322, 4 touchdowns. He also got sacked 3 times, but he had 3 carries for 29 yards. But a lot of that's
31 of 35 for 322, 4 touchdowns, no picks.
You know when you do a paper and there'd be 35 questions and you'd get graded? Do you know what 31 to 35 would get you? If you round up 89%. No, B+.
89 point
but
what?
Guess what's it's 88, but if you round up it'd be 89.
But in passing that's an A+.
What's 89% as a fucking in an NFL game? Where you're not like it'd be one thing if you're like, yeah, it was 8 of 10. 31 to 35? And like you said, I vividly remember the one DK drop where it was like a comeback, hit him right in the hands, and DK is like, oh, but you're right. DK immediately makes up for it by these sweet deep passes. I love DK Metcalf. What'd he do today? 495 and just to me, that's a sweet deep threat. And this is what he is. You can't
targets,
throw him in the middle stuff. Yeah, it's just
he's 50%, but the ones he catches make it worth it.
Julio Jones had 9 catches for 157 yards.
He looked incredible.
Well, him and Ridley, 18 catches, 287 yards on 24 targets. Those two guys are elite.
Checking DraftKings.
Matt Ryan had 450 yards. They lost by, they lost by 13. It felt like they lost by 30.
Ridley was 37 points in DraftKings today. They got their ass kicked. Did you come away thinking, okay, Atlanta, they played the Seahawks. The Seahawks are good. Don't hold it against them. Or what I came away thinking was, I appreciate an owner not folding when everyone says fire your coach, but they might just be running this. They probably shouldn't have run it back. Or is it too early for that?
Yeah, my buddy in the NFL, we were just talking quarterbacks the other day. He thought Matt Ryan was declining a little bit. Still has good moments, but I think when you watch him, he's like the steroid version of Phillip Rivers because his numbers are more potent. But when I watch him, I never think he's like that dominant of a player. My takeaway is he's not their problem. But when I watch him, I go, for a guy that you're paying all this money, I just when I watch Julio, I go, that guy's Jesus Christ. Hall of Fame, David Baker, whenever he's eligible, go right to his door and knock. You don't have to wait for the big room for them to vote. Julio's one of the best wide receivers I've ever seen. He's basically, to me, Terrell Owens with just no drama. He never says a peep, no issues. Even remember the one issue is like, he might hold out. He actually didn't. He showed up, and they just ended up paying him. He's just so easy. But I just feel like Matt Ryan gets him the ball, but just something to be desired, guys. That's how I just feel like the Atlanta Falcons are just. You're right. Maybe they're just a coach away because they got enough talent. They'll end up with 7 wins. Seattle with Jamal Adams led the team in tackles. Guy had a sack, had a sweet play on like a defense, like a batted ball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's Seattle. I'm not trying to overreact. They played the Falcons, but they were on the road, early kickoff. You'd say typically this is the type of game where they're usually down at half, right? And Russell pulls it out of his ass. They usually don't start redlining. And I think some people were saying Jamal's brought a lot of energy to them, and everyone kept tweeting like, God, Jamal's having a lot of fun. There might be just something in his energy, because the one thing Clowney doesn't really bring is energy. Jamal does bring excited as hell to be there.
I think one thing you noticed today, nobody was talking about the Seahawks overpaid for Jamal Adams, because they would say, well, we got this is who we got, and he was a game changer for us today, and he was.
Andy Bennett, our buddy, used to be the strength coach at Fresno State, texts me middle of the game. He's like, I would have traded 3 first-rounders for this guy. Because if you're just a fan watching the game, you go, is he the best player on the field? Right?
Well, I said maybe Jonathan Abram will run into Cam Newton in 2 weeks. Cam Newton's they play each other this week. So it's Jamal Adams and Cam Newton going to meet a couple times, because New England plays Seattle on Sunday night.
That's a great Sunday night game. Yeah. God, NBC gets all the
Seattle.
games.
In Seattle.
No fans.
I know, but I'm just saying, it's just sweet. So, yeah, I no regrets on that one.
He looks sweet. Russell, I thoroughly enjoy watching Russell Wilson play football. Like, as someone that he's one of my favorite players ever. I can't get enough of watching him play.